On April 8th, 2022, I went to Coppers Break State Park to do a Parks on the Air activation. Several of y'all asked after I posted a picture of the truck setup what this configuration was, particularly the mast. Today I'm going to show you how I put that together, let you know where I got the parts, and show you something that I didn't show in the picture. My name is Guy, KC5GOI, and this is the Anecdotal Ham. So what I have here are the main parts. This item here came from Harbor Freight, and it is a step plate that I picked up. This other one is the remnants of what's a trailer tongue jack screw, and the main thing we're interested in is this pivot point, the mounting surface, and the tube. So what I had to do to modify these items, this plate's been used for a couple other projects in the past, but we had to make this guy line up here like so. We had to modify the plate to where it will tilt at 45 degrees, which is going to be this hole that we had to drill here. Now this came from a Home Depot, and you'll notice that this plate for the most part is flat all the way through. Now this is version 2.0, and I'll show you 2.1 a little bit later, but this 45-degree hole here is going to allow us to change the angle of the mast and let us work on the antenna as a tilt over, and it's going to be at good height. The biggest trick on the step plate, normally on the truck you're going to have them mounted kind of like this. So you have your horizontal holes on this side here. We want to take this plate though, and we want to mount it like this. That makes this hole here and here the trickiest part of this entire operation on putting this kit together. If you take a close look, you might see that there's a little bit of a ridge here. What I started off with was I had to locate center, and to do that I needed to match the depth from here to center, here to center. They had to be exact, and then I needed to be in center going across this way. This way the hole lines all the way through. This hole's a little bit oversized, and part of that is to give a little bit of wiggle room in case it was off by maybe a 32nd or a 16th of an inch. And it allows us to slide the pin in and out a little bit easier. We're not going to be towing a trailer with this in place. We just need it to hold it still. The jack screw, we took the bolt out of the bottom, and it allowed us to gut all this, and it gives us this tube here. The inside diameter of this particular mast from Home Depot happened to be perfect for the inside diameter of our fiberglass mast. So here we've got everything assembled. The 4 bolts here, and the thing that you want to make sure that you check on is when you go to tighten these bolts up, make sure you have equal depth on all of this. And when you go to tighten it up, you don't want these brackets to start to bend. Once you've done that, they started to lose their strength. About the time your lock washers go flat, snug them up, but don't pull too tight. That'll get you plenty of clamping force, and you'll be set. That allows us to take this and put it in the back of the receiver hitch, and this will put it on the right hand side, and then you just pull your pin and you can rotate. That's 45 degrees, and that's about 60 degrees. So the idea is we'll put this in the receiver hitch. We'll take our fiberglass mast and we'll slide it right inside. Now, I've got a hole drilled at the bottom right about here. And the reason I did that is because it matches the hole in the fiberglass mast here. And the idea is when this guy is mounted inside our tilting mechanism, that our fiberglass pole doesn't turn like that. Okay, so let's get this guy mounted real quick. And this is where your tilting mechanism on your base is going to come in really handy. This is my buddy pole Versity, and it's what I use when I'm building my buddy poles, whether it's 40 meters, 20 meters, 15, 12, 10, 6, or even 2 meters. But this guy will thread right on. So this is going to pretty much stay put. Now you'll notice that I threaded my Buddy Pole Versity onto some common pipe fitting. I would take your Versity to Home Depot because I believe this is actually a 5/8 pipe fitting thread. But you can put that on a piece of PVC pipe, and that will go on to the smaller section of the fiberglass mast. Now I did put a screw in it to help keep it from rotating, and it goes all the way into the fiberglass. But another thing that the PVC pipe is going to do for me is sometimes I'll put my Aero Antenna J-pole on this mast, and this will allow me to set this up that height that I want to use. So this would be for like a bike ride, something like that, a public service event that I'm doing. But you'll see the tube slides right in, locks into place, and we just thread our handy dandy Buddy Pole Versity onto it. Then we can set it straight. And the thing to notice here, this is at easy, workable, touchable height. And that's what my goal was. When I'm done, and I've got my elements on top of this, I can even do some tuning things with it ahead of time to find out where my nulls are. Now, I may be close to the ground and things are going to change. I'm aware of that, but it can help me get an initial tune in. The antenna set up. I put the antenna up, and away we go. And there we are, 18 feet up in the air. Okay, I said this was version 2.0. That's very much the case. This is version 1.0. Version 1.0 is what I used when I went to do national parks on the air back in 2016. I don't use this one that much anymore. It's a little more clumsy to use, mainly because of this offset that we had to manufacture for this. This tube diameter here and here is the same, but at the time I was trying to get a little bit higher up in the air. So you'll notice this fiberglass mast is much larger in diameter than this one. So we built this little offset to put on here. Now, part of the genius of this is going to be this inside diameter here happens to fit the outside diameter of here. This gives me 3 additional sections that I can use, and that'll put me up to 25 feet. Now, version 1.0 was all Harbor Freight parts, okay? Same step mast, just like this one over here. But this jack screw setup, while it was a rotatable jack screw for a trailer, it has 2 points here to lock it into place, and I have no reason to believe that this is weaker than this one. This will be fine. The issue that we ran into when I was fabricating this one, and you should be able to see it right about here, this plate's on a curve, which made drilling this hole much more difficult. What I ended up doing is coming in through the side with a pilot bit, drilled the next size up, and then we took the drill and had to straighten it out. It's really hard on a drill bit, but it still made it happen. But this one still gives me the rotational access. Now, true Harbor Freight, you saw how that kind of got hung up, and you got to be careful about that. There's 90 degrees. And there is our 45-degree angle. And then that puts it perfectly horizontal. But you can rotate this any direction you want. Right now, this puts it on the left-hand side of the truck. This way puts it on the right-hand side of the truck, which is my preferred location. The fiberglass pole that you see here, I'll put the links in the description. This came from Max Gain Systems. You see a 6-foot section here, and that's about the maximum length they'll sell before they start doing freight charges. They do sell these as pre-made kits where they already come with the couplers. You may have to assemble them, but I bought my individual parts, and over the years I've done a couple of different things, and I've got some spare parts. One of the things a buddy pole can do is if you get the adapter, you can use a painter's pole, and Max Gain does sell a painter's pole end to put on this. As a side note, my son and I have actually put the painter's pole section on this mast and used it to hang our Christmas lights. So there's a lot of things that you can do with it. But I have less than $100 in all of this, including shipping. Now, I've had this particular setup for about 3 years for version 2.0. Version 1.0 I've had since 2016. That I've got about $125 after shipping in it. So far, I have had no problems with this fiberglass. It is not broken on me. I've had it in 20 to 30 mile an hour wind gusts with a full-size 20-meter dipole antenna at 25 feet. It does flex in the wind, but you can get guy points that actually fit in each one of the sections, and you can use it to guy down. So what have you seen with this telescoping mast system? And I hope it helps explain how I use it out in the field. It allows us to get an HF antenna or even a VHF antenna up at a reasonable height. I use this antenna sometimes for when I'm using the 3-element or 2-element beam 6-meter antenna for the VHF contest. I sometimes put my 4-element VHF antenna on it to do sideband, but I can also use it to mount other things other than a buddy pole. You can even use it to help support a wire antenna if you're going to use an end-fed half-wave antenna or something like that. Now, in 2016 for National Parks on the Air, we did find out that the National Park System does not allow people to hang wire antennas from trees. So that comes up a lot on the POTA Facebook group. Remember, national parks, you cannot hang wires in trees, so this system helps me stay in compliance. There are also state parks that don't like it. Others seem to not care. You need to check. I'm not a big fan of do and then ask for forgiveness because it can cause people to get a bad taste in their mouth. Check the description below for where I got these parts. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comments section below. Please keep them family friendly. This is a family friendly channel. If you like this video, please click on the like, subscribe, and please share this video. I'll be doing another video in the future on how I use my 20-meter and a 40-meter antenna setup using the buddy pole system. For now, thank you for watching. This is KC5GOI, the Anecdotal Ham.